The NHL season got rolling last night, but it has been a long time since the Quad Cities last had professional hockey in town. It's been 584 days since the Quad Cities Storm last hit the ice at the TaxSlayer Center, but that hiatus is finally over. The puck drops once again on Friday, and the team's getting ready to go. The Storm return a handful of guys who played with the team previously, and plenty of new faces as well. Most of these guys played elsewhere this last season and return in tip-top shape. While it is early on, players say they're already clicking and have high hopes for the upcoming season.
I like the consistency that we've had. Every practice has been just on point. Even on a day, we may have had one day where it wasn't our best day, but it still wasn't a bad practice. It was just an off practice. I wouldn't even call it a bad practice. But other than that, we've just been on point with passing, shooting, reading plays, for me making saves and everything, and just feeding off of each other. So that's been probably the best thing on the ice so far.
I kind of try to learn a little bit from each team I was on. The hockey community is a good one, and it's a small one. All guys are kind of in the same boat, so you kind of feel like people can understand you. But at the same time, it was always in the back of my mind, like looking forward to coming back here.
We're a quick team, we work hard, we're physical, but we have a lot of guys who can put the puck in the net. And I think from top to bottom, I think that's something that people should look out for in this league, because it's not very often that you have this many good players on one team. So it's obviously up to us now to present that and to show that. But we know in this locker room that the tools and the guys are there. We just have to put it together at this point.
The Storm returned to the TaxSlayer on Friday for back-to-back home games with the Evansville Thunderbolts at 7:10 both Friday and Saturday night. On Tuesday, Iowa head coach Kirk Ferentz announced that senior DB Riley Moss would be out with a left knee injury for a couple of weeks. While no one likes to see anyone go down with an injury, it may be making way for an area product to get a shot at seeing the field. Taking a look at this week's depth chart versus Purdue, Terry Roberts will step in for Riley Moss, so that means behind Matt Hankins is Burlington Notre Dame product Xavier Williams. The grad transfer from UNI has been dealing with his own injuries this spring, but now could be his time to shine.
Certainly made a lot of progress, and that's when you bring that question up, I'm sitting here thinking about Van Valkenburg. When a player comes in from the outside and joins your team, it takes them a while to just kind of get the hang of things. Just everything that you're doing, how you train, all those kinds of things, but especially the football part. And just like I think we saw Zach, obviously he's gotten better with every opportunity. Hopefully that's the same thing for Xavier, but he's been doing a good job behind the scenes. That's one position where we've had some depth, with Terry and Jamari, but now that gives him an opportunity. Unfortunately, Riley's out, but that's how football is, and it gives everybody a chance. And he's worked hard, so we're confident he'll do a good job if he gets called on.
The Hawkeyes face off with Purdue at home on Saturday at 2:30. We'll have full coverage of the game right here on WQAD. Just a couple of weeks stand between the start of college basketball season, and the Hawkeyes will have to do it without some pretty big names. The Hawkeyes made their way to the NCAA tournament, earning a 2 seed, but falling in the second round. They lose National Player of the Year and All-American Luka Garza, plus hometown hero Joe Wieskamp to the NBA, but they return veterans like Connor McCaffrey, Joe Toussaint, and Jordan Bohannon. They know it will be an uphill battle without two of their very best.
I think the depth, we got a lot of guys that are good. The practices have been very competitive. I've been switching the lineups quite a bit. Everything we do in practice is competitive, so every segment is, one team wins, one team loses. And they've been going at each other. So it sort of gives you an indication of, who's ready to compete, and then who's capable of playing multiple positions like we think they are. But we force them to do that. And so we can go with a bigger lineup, we can go with a smaller lineup. We can go without a 5-man, a traditional 5-man. 3 guards and 2 6'9s. There's a lot of ways we can go. So I think from that standpoint, it's a different kind of team.
The Hawkeyes host an exhibition game on November 5th versus Slippery Rock. Voting continues for this week's Midwest Technical Institute Score Standout nominees. We start with Drew Hall from Rock Ridge. The senior wins the Class 1A individual golf title with an even par performance. Then we have Eric Kincaid from Comanche. He rushes for 191 yards and scores 3 times in a storm win. Here's the rest of your nominees. Ella Ramsey from Moline, 7 kills, 4 aces, 2 blocks in a sweep of Rock Island. And Connor Nye from Milledgeville, 359 total yards, 7 TDs, 4 passing, 3 rushing in a missiles win. Vote on Twitter at @thescorewqad on the sports page. Polls are open until tomorrow at noon. Better get those votes in. Jim, I'll send it back to you.
You know what I love about the Standout program? They're great athletes, but they're great kids and great students too.
100%. It encapsulates everything pretty much. Good athlete on the field, also good kids off it.